All right, guys, it's Angelo Christian here with another great edition of Influencers. And today I have a very special guest that's going to be with us. If you guys don't know who is Mr. Cole Hatter, he's a real estate entrepreneur, master guru in sales. I actually had the good fortune to meet with him last year at Ty Lopez's house, and I've been following him ever since. And I was very impressed with his presentation. He's extremely knowledgeable with sales and real estate investing. Cole, how much have you done in selling from? Was it like 50 million or 100 million dollars in real estate?
Yeah, somewhere around 120 million from stage.
That's
That has nothing to do with
that's
real estate, but
yeah,
just on stage selling. Yeah.
yeah. And then I mean your presentation on persuasion and selling and NLP, it blew my mind, man. I was just like, and the way that you came across is so genuine. And that's, with our company, just to give you a little bit of background, we have our real estate university and we have our mortgage bank. And so we really thought that, you being on the show, you could add tremendous value to our followers and let them know what you do and kind of what you specialize in. So if you could just give us a little bit of background, a little color about who Cole Hatter is and where you came from and all that.
Sure. Yeah. So it's been a 13-year journey now. I had the entrepreneurial background, like in high school, I had a clothing company and sold T-shirts. There's that whole story. But the first actual business I ran started at 21. Previous to that, I was a firefighter. I graduated from high school. I went immediately into the fire academy and was working with the fire department for 2 years. And then I got in a really bad car accident where I was temporarily in a wheelchair, had to learn how to walk again. And while I was down
Right,
and out, had to pick a new career because unless you have perfect physical health, you can't be a firefighter, right? And
right,
so by chance, my parents' neighbors, the husband was a real estate investor, the wife was a real estate agent, got a big, beautiful home, nice cars. And one day in conversation, realized, you know what? I think I want to try my hand at real estate, and
mm,
then I'll figure out the firefighting thing as I heal. Ended up getting my real estate license, and I was going to go
wow,
the retail route and just be like a freaking gangster realtor.
mm-hmm,
And then realized pretty quickly that there's a lot more profit or potential in getting profits over commissions. And I decided to be on the investor side of the transaction instead of the agent side.
okay,
So I became a real estate investor, and that was in June of 2005. Uh, Story you've probably heard from a lot of real estate guys: made a stupid amount of money from 2005 to 2008, lost it all 2008 2010, had to reevaluate, even moved to Mexico for 7 months and worked with homeless kids down there and started an orphanage and did philanthropy, refocused, came back in the spring of 2011, started my business back up, and have made millions of dollars since. So
that's awesome, man.
13-year journey
Yeah,
of being a real estate investor. And then I own other businesses as well. I've probably started 30 businesses. 25 of them have failed. A
mm-hmm,
dozen of those failed miserably and
mm-hmm,
cost me money. But
mm-hmm,
the 4 or 5 I've gotten correct have made me more than enough money to make it all worth it.
yeah.
And real estate's the one I've done the longest that's paid me the most over the course of my career.
Yeah, yeah. And so what exactly do you do with real estate now? I mean, what part of the transaction or the industry or sector?
So the on the active income side, we're fix and flip homes right here local in Orange County. We'll do anywhere from 2 to 6 projects simultaneously of purchase, renovate, and sell. And then with that, part of that goes towards my livelihood and all the money I don't need from that business and my others. We're then investing in buy and holds. We've been doing a lot of residential buy and holds, and now my primary focus is apartments.
Mm-hmm.
Anything from like 20 to 90 unit apartment buildings is something that I can afford to own myself and don't need to get into partnership. It's very common in commercial real estate just because of the size and the work and the money to have groups of people create, some type of LPGP agreement or whatever it is to go take down a building and do some fundraise. I didn't want to do that. So I'm shopping around, I don't want to call it the Midwest, but around Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
parts of Pittsburgh, uh, some of the suburbs of North Texas,
Okay.
Columbus, Ohio, where I've got some local contacts to be picking up, again, these 20 to 90 unit apartment buildings. And my goal is to own 500 apartment units. So whether that's 500 unit buildings or,
Yeah,
10, 50 units, whatever it takes to get to that 500 number. And then
I
from
got
there,
you.
it'll be to 1,500.
I got you.
So that's it. So I'm generating all this cash flow from flipping houses and from my other various businesses to pay for my lifestyle, of course, and provide for my family. And then the rest is being rolled right now primarily into apartment buildings. And we just made that decision this year.
Mm-hmm.
And so building those relationships, I'm actually leaving for Chicago this time tomorrow. I'll be on an airplane actually to go out there and go shopping for deals all weekend long.
Okay. Okay. So now, are you doing that with your own money, or are you also seeking capital from accredited investors, or how are you doing it?
Yeah, depends. So I'm in the mindset of leverage everything, have little to none of your own money. In my fix and flip business, I never use my own money. I either have a private lender cover everything, or I'll do a hard money lender first, private lender second, to completely cover the purchase and renovation costs.
Hmm.
For the real estate, I personally will be getting a conventional 25-year fixed whatever for the commercial loan, and then for that 30 something percent down, I'll either put in my own money, depending on
Hmm.
whether it's 20 units or 90 units, or I'll do a raise and have like a second position, especially if the properties I'm targeting are ones that there's immediate improvements. Maybe it's a lower occupancy rate, excuse me, than it should be, or maybe rents are lower than they should be and it needs some work. So pick up a property, put a $250,000 into it to bring it up, bring the value up, bring the rents
Yep.
up, raise the occupancy, and then have created that extra
Yeah. Well, cool, man.
margin there. So
That's awesome.
long answer to say, for commercial, I'm going to be able to get the financing myself. I've got a great credit score and great income. For that down payment and renovation, it'll either just be me or it'll be me with another lender.
I got you. I got you. Well, cool, man. You know that we do commercial too. I'd love to give you some quotes. We got some awesome investor programs with as little as 10% down. And so I'd love to see what we can do for you
Nice.
to help you, hook you up with that. We also have direct access to Fannie Mae. Which should definitely hook you up and give you great terms, low interest rates. So,
Cool.
but now as far as like from our follower standpoint, I know that you have a phenomenal Thrive. So that's something that you did this year, I think in Vegas, right?
Yep. This
Okay.
year, September 14th, 15th, and 16th.
Okay. So can you talk a little bit about what Thrive is? Because I'd like to let everyone know what that is.
Yeah, Thrive is a manifestation, I guess, of my own experiences and evolution as an entrepreneur. But what Thrive is a 3-day business conference where I bring in incredible friends of mine and even some people I've never yet met. Like, for instance, Ty Lopez is going to speak there. He's a good friend of mine. This year we have Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher. If you go to Google and you type in motivational speaker, it auto suggests his name. Like, this is a
Yep.
big deal.
Yep.
A total of about 20 speakers come in and for 3 days teach the audience how to run their businesses and crush it in today's
Right.
economy.
Right.
These aren't, life coaches, no offense to those guys, but these are 8 and 9 figure entrepreneurs
Right.
that are just teaching how they're literally killing the game in their businesses. And then what makes our business conference unique is we teach what's called a for purpose business model, where
Mhm.
instead of just making money, it's how to make money matter. And that's our theme by starting what are called for purpose organizations. The biggest example most people know of would be Tom's Shoes.
Mhm.
Blake Mikowski, the founder of Tom's, started a shoe company, but instead of just making money, for every pair of shoes he sold, he gave a pair away.
Right.
And so when they would have record-breaking quarters in sales, they'd also have record-breaking quarters in donations. And so how do you
Oh, that's
create a
awesome.
business that has a give aspect, that has some social cause built into it, that at the same time is more profitable than its competitors? Because a lot of people assume that if you're giving away products, goods, or even writing checks, you're losing what would have been profit. That's not true. When you know how to do it correctly, you're actually making more money. So that's what Thrive is. In 3 days, you're hearing from outstanding individuals
Mhm.
on how to kill it in business and how to run a business that gives back. And because of that unique branding messaging, you get more market share and you actually make more money.
Okay. And is it people can just go and is it thrive.com or where can people go if they want to?
I wish whoever owns Thrive.com isn't using it, won't sell it. It's not even for sale. It literally says not for sale. But it's attendthrive.com.
Attendthrive.com.
So if they want to head to attendthrive.com, they can see our latest speaker announcements, who's coming, and just kind of more about the event.
That's awesome, man. That's all. I'm definitely going to be there. I'm so excited. And like I said, if you guys haven't seen Cole in person, he's phenomenal. He's also very personable. He'll talk to you. Very down to earth guy. So as far as is there any services or anything that you offer, any products or anything that you can help to change people's lives or add value? You do anything on the educational side or?
Yeah, so Thrive's, again, it's 3 days out of the whole year. It's a one big deal.
Okay.
We just launched Thrive Academy in Q2. So Thrive Academy are smaller events based in a specific practice or skill set or business area. So Thrive is 20 to 26 different speakers on 20 different topics, from marketing to raising capital to all types of stuff.
I got
At
you.
Thrive Academy, we're focusing on one thing. So you talked about sales and persuasion, what you heard me talk about at Ty's house. We just did one of those events, 2 days on just how to sell more, on exactly what I've done to sell $120 million from stage. And so that's new. And then I do have some stuff with real estate coming out in Q4 as well.
Awesome.
And then some of it will be online. I like the live events because I feel like you just get so much more impacted. I've bought probably no joke, 15 online courses, and I only did one of them because once you buy it, there's no accountability. Oh, I'll get to watching it later. Now
Yeah.
that's just me. I'm sure that that's not the case for everybody, but
Right.
for me personally, I get more out of being there in person because I'm focused. So I like doing in-person events, but we'll be creating a lot more online content as well coming out very shortly.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I would be really excited to see that, and I love to feature anything that you're doing with selling or real estate on our real estate university, because that's a big thing that our students ask about. Is I know you're an expert with like investing in apartments or with flipping. If you ever created the content for that, we'd love to feature that. On
Thank
our
you.
university, we have thousands of students. They're always asking about that. I don't know anything about that part of the business. I know how to be a lender and and do mortgages and stuff like that in the banking side and underwrite. And so I think that'd be a great compliment, to feature on Real Estate University. We are accredited too, by the way,
Cool.
so which makes it really cool. But yeah, I mean, now let me ask you this from the entrepreneurial side, because you talked about, you've started 30 businesses and some of them failed and some have taken off. Can you share with us, in summary, you know, uh, what you think that some hacks or key things to success, right? To be a successful entrepreneur. You've made it. You're a multimillionaire. A lot of people fail.
Right.
I've struggled severely. I've lost millions of dollars with businesses. And so, what are the tenets of success? In your opinion.
Yeah. So while we're on that subject of failing, I would just really want to emphasize I've failed way more than I've succeeded. And so one thing I would encourage entrepreneurs who are afraid of failing is realize that you will. That's just a law of averages, and you'll probably fail more than you succeed. What separates some of us that make millions and those of us that try once and never try again is just trying again, right? So I'll use baseball as an analogy. If you get up to bat and you get thrown out or strike out 7 out of 10 times, only 3 times at bat you actually get on base, you are a freaking hero. You're batting 300, you're
Right.
going to be in the Hall of Fame. And
Right.
that means that 7 out of 10 times you're failing, you're getting thrown out or striking out, yet you're still considered a living legend.
Yeah.
And very much the same is true with business. Your companies might not all succeed, or let's say you have a good one, an idea within that company could fail. So Thrive is working very well, but I've had ideas within Thrive that failed.
Right.
So it's working, but I was like, oh, you know what we should do? We should do this. And it just fails. Like,
Right.
honestly, dude, I fail over 90% of the time with my
Mm-hmm.
ideas.
Mm-hmm.
But the second lesson is a first lesson would be law of averages, like understand that I don't know a single entrepreneur that only wins, that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have their losses too.
Mm-hmm.
We only just talk about their wins, right? People talk about the money I make in real estate and Thrive. They don't talk about all the businesses I've lost money on
Right.
because they never got anywhere. No one even knows they existed.
Right.
The second thing I would say is emotionally don't get attached to the outcome. So many entrepreneurs who are afraid of failure, if they actually get up and try it and fail, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not an entrepreneur, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm not meant for this. You can't personally attach yourself to your results or to your outcome. You have
Okay.
to be unemotionally attached and
Okay.
just look at it as a business for what it is. This isn't a spouse. If you have a spouse who's upset with you, or children who won't talk to you, that's something you should personalize and figure out what's going on. But if a business doesn't work, that don't make that like don't be personally attached to the outcome. That's what I talk to a lot of people about.
Right.
And again, this isn't supposed to be some motivational hallmark cliche answer, but the reality is so many people quit too early because they failed once, twice, 5 times in a row. And again, just keep in mind that living legends fail more than they succeed. It's just that they kept going until they got those successes. And so
Mm-hmm.
I would encourage the listeners not to be afraid of failure, but just know that failing is a part of the process. And that if it doesn't work the way they thought it would, or it completely fails, back to the drawing board. Don't give up and don't associate yourself with that failure. Move on to the next idea or a different way of implementing that idea that may work better. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Now let me ask you this: if somebody's wanting to, they want to get a mentor, right? They want to have you mentor them, or they want to have Grant Cardone or Ty Lopez. How can the average person, get in front of somebody like that?
Come to their live events. So as far as learning from them, the beautiful part of the world we live in now is things like podcasts, right? These shows like this. Ty, Grant, myself all have podcasts. We put out so much content for free. So as far as just learning from people like that, this is the best time in the world history to be able to, at an arm's length distance, learn, right? I've never met Elon Musk in person. I did tour Tesla. It's about as close as I've ever been to the guy. but I've learned a lot by reading the different things written about him and watching his various TED Talks and things like that. That said, as
Mm-hmm.
far as what you just asked, getting in front of them, go to their live events.
Mm-hmm.
Grant does live events. Ty does live events. I'm speaking at one in August. I met you at one that I spoke at. I do Thrive, and then I'm doing these smaller live events.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as ridiculous as it may sound, you got to pay to get in front of people who are busy,
Right.
period. You're
Right.
not just going to text me or Ty. I get, not to sound terrible, but I get asked out to coffee or lunch 35 times a week. And if
Yeah.
I said yes to all of them, I would be a full-time coffee connoisseur
Yeah.
and morbidly obese from all the lunches I'd be eating. And so it's not that we don't want to, it's just physically impossible. And I have nowhere near the reach that Ty or Grant has, right? They
Yeah.
must get 35 an hour.
Yeah.
So what's going to make you different? You got to pay to play.
Yeah.
As terrible as that sounds, you need to spend a few hundred or a few $1,000s to go to these guys' events. Now
Yeah.
you might say, well, easy for you to say, Cole, you have money. No, I didn't. Not when I started.
Yeah.
I literally put it on a credit card. And so, again, on the larger events, Thrive, for instance, the general admission ticket's like $300.
Yeah.
To get me for a day is 10,000, right? So to have me for a VIP day might not be in the budget, but to come to Thrive, and like you said, I'm always available to my attendees. If I'm walking down the audience to go pee, I'll say, come pee with me so we
Yeah.
can talk, because I can't hold
Yeah.
it any longer, but I want to answer your question. So
Right.
again, all Grant, Ty, myself, we all have large events that are very affordable. And it's not just me, Grant, and Ty. Most entrepreneurs do. So
Mm-hmm.
again, a long answer, but I hear a lot of people say, how am I going to get in front of them? You got to pay to play. And if you
Yeah.
can't pay $10,000 to have a VIP day with me,
Right.
okay, cool. Then pay
Right.
$300, come to Thrive, learn from me, Grant, Ty, and all these gangsters,
Right.
and then let's chat for 20 minutes on one of the breaks.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I remember that you were talking about how you got in front of Grant and what you did, and I thought that was really clever on and you're right, you have to do that. And so do you have any as far as any morning routine or any rituals that you do?
The only part of my day that's the same as the early morning. I don't have routines, and I think that there's a lot of commonality with successful people, but I think each of us needs to find our own way, if that makes sense. Like, I read this article that was focusing on the 10 habits of the super wealthy. They all woke up while it was still dark outside. They all journaled and they all read first thing in the morning. So I was like, there we go. I set my alarm for 5 a.m. I read and I journaled. I made it 3 days, and it was so miserable I never did it again. So I was like, I guess I'm not going to be successful, yet I was anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say Tony Robbins takes an ice bath every day.
Yeah.
By you taking an ice bath doesn't make you Tony Robbins.
Right.
You thinking like Tony does is what gets you results like Tony Robbins. And so for me, my only actual routine is every single day when my daughters wake up, we all hang out in bed together. When they wake up, they both run into our room and just dive in. And we have my wife,
awesome.
my 2 daughters, and myself in one huge bed, just all sprawled out. My 5-year-old's lying sideways, kicking me in the head, just like straight family time. Anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour. And then we come downstairs and we all eat breakfast together. So the first hour and a half of my day is no social media, no phones, no internet, no nothing, just bed, hanging out, laughing, and then breakfast together. And then at that point, every day is completely different. And so, and that's how I have to do it. A lot of people would require more of a routine than I need. For me, I thrive in chaos, if you will. And the fact that every day is different than the before or the next is helpful for me. It keeps me interested. I don't get bored. And so I think routines are important. I think that's a good question. But I'd also tell people, like, you're obviously a super successful guy, but if somebody literally copied your routine, they might not make any money at all. What they need to do is figure out how you operate and how you think and start to operate and think that way. And then they'll start to get similar results. Maybe not identical, but similar. So keep that in mind too for whoever's listening to this right now.
Right. I mean, as far as how would you rate diet or exercise as far as affecting like state management and then therefore your results?
Super high priority. I think it's critical to eat well and exercise. I exercise every day. I'm doing 3 miles for 30 days right now. It's I can't even think of the name of the charity. It's a thing right now we're doing. But so I'm running 3 miles a day, and then I'm also going to the gym. So anyway, fitness and a good diet are so important.
Okay.
Period.
What's a good diet to you? What do you think is that? Are you doing like a ketogenic or like low carb or high carb or fruit or what?
So it kind of depends on what I'm planning for. We did the keto diet first quarter just to give it a test. A lot of people get great results. I didn't really like it. We've done the paleo diet for years because of CrossFit. Now we're doing a really unique diet. I'm trying to gain 10 pounds of muscle, and then I want to lose 15 pounds. So I want to gain 10 pounds of muscle and then end up 5 pounds lighter than I am right now. So I'm having like 200 grams of protein. I'm eating like 4,000 calories a day.
Oh, wow.
But that's all clean food. It's so hard to do. Like that's like 2 Big Macs from McDonald's. But when it's so eating 4,000 calories can be easy. It's like one burrito from freaking, Taco Bell. But check this out. It's like egg whites and carrots.
Wow.
4,000 that stuff I'm eating all freaking day, but that's how you build lean muscle mass. So the point is my diets vary. I do have a personal trainer, and depending on what I want, so I want to gain 10 pounds of lean muscle and then shred 15 pounds of overall mass fat and a little bit of muscle loss. Again, to end up 5 pounds lighter than I am now, but roughly maybe 7.5 pounds of muscle I'll keep more. And so that said, again, the diets vary. I think, and I was just having this conversation with somebody, everybody who subscribes to a certain diet says the rest don't work. The keto guys say paleo's a joke. The paleo guys say keto's a joke. It's just different body types, different results. My buddy Bobby fasts until 2 p.m. every day. He will not eat anything until 2 p.m. Then he has a light lunch, and then he eats a massive dinner.
Wow.
My personal trainer says that's bad because it slows down your metabolism. You want to have small meals all day long. So who's really right?
Right.
The guys that do the morning fasts and then eat a lot in the afternoon, or the guys that eat a little all day long?
Right.
It's just different body types respond differently.
Yeah.
Everybody's right. You've just got to try it to figure out what works for you personally.
Right. Let me ask you this, Cole. Who are your mentors?
So for real estate, it's Than Merrill. He was star, Flip This House. He, again, pay to play. He has these live events. I was in his audience. I bought his program. I did well, so I caught his attention, and then we've ended up developing a great friendship. So I've been mentoring under him for quite some time for my real estate investing business. And again, I'm on the phone. I was on the phone with him yesterday. I'm on the phone with him every single Tuesday for an hour. So I'd say he's my primary mentor business in real estate and business in general. And then there's dozens of people that I've learned a lot from that aren't even alive anymore. Like, for instance, Henry Ford, studying what that guy did and to disrupt the automotive industry. I've learned a lot. And he died long before I was born, but I would still consider him a mentor. And I think that's a good point for your audience too, that, mentorship can be as formal as a weekly call for an hour. It can be as informal as just reading books written by, previous living legends and seeing how they did their business and how they made their decisions and copying them. Picasso says good artists copy, great artists steal. So I'm trying to steal as much as I can from entrepreneurs that have lived long before me and, doing it my own way.
Yeah, standing on the shoulders of giants, huh?
Yep, totally.
So the one wrapping thing I wanted to ask you is, in the end, I mean, if you do the, Alex Mayer, Ty's business partner, always talks about regret minimization, theory, and in the end, looking back, I mean, what is it that Cole Hatter brand or your family or your company, what is it? What is the end game, or what is it going to mean in the end for you?
So right now it's creating a ton of cash to then roll into commercial building to create about 7 figures of passive income. My goal is to be making anywhere between 80 and 100,000 passively above everything off my commercial real estate, right? A combination of apartment buildings and maybe some strip mall type stuff, maybe even some warehouses. And then once I'm cash flowing at that position, it's whatever I want to do the rest of my life. My goal is to make movies. I have no interest in being an actor. I want to executive produce and go hire a casting agency to hire the actors. I don't ever want to be in front of the camera. But the message of Thrive and the impact I get to make in people's lives is super honorable. And or I should say I'm honored to hear the feedback. And so at Thrive, we're going to have 1,500 people there this year. That's like 5 movie theaters, right?
Yeah.
And so to create movies that make a similar impact, that make people really sit like in process and introspectively evaluate their lives, I want to do that. So I want to make movies that have powerful messages that when it ends and the credits start to roll, no one in the audience even moves because they're just sitting there floored with how it's challenged them. So that's my goal. That's what I want to do as my family, is leave a legacy of trainings and I guess you'd call them inspirational movies to make people live lives that matter, period.
What are some of your favorite movies?
So I'll say Sandra Bullock, Blindside. That's kind of the type of movie I want to make. Full-length feature films that are entertaining but have a huge message. And for anyone who hasn't seen that, this wealthy family who owns like 300 Wendy's franchise locations brings in this boy who was essentially homeless who came from low income neighborhoods,
Yeah.
adopted him. He went off to play in the NFL and has a thriving life. It's a true story, right?
Yeah.
So telling stories like that of ordinary people doing extraordinary things
Yeah.
for the audience to say, wow, I don't have to be, Bill Gates to
Mhm.
end malaria to make my impact. It's as simple as caring for a child,
Yeah.
giving them a healthy place to grow up so they can have a thriving life as well.
Well, I don't know if you know my story, but I grew up homeless and I was 400 pounds and obese. And Rocky was the story of the movie that changed my life. I had a heart attack when I was 17,
Wow.
and almost died. I turned my whole life around from watching that movie. We were living in a hotel. My father, he abandoned my mother, my 4 brothers and sisters, and I was working 3 minimum wage jobs and living in a hotel. And, I watched that movie at 2:00 in the morning when I came home, or came to the hotel, and saw how this man defied the odds and became the champion of the world by just pouring his whole self passion into something and not giving up, like you mentioned, and defying the odds and becoming the champion. And that was a reference point for me, because I think people need a reference point, something to believe in. And the next day, I didn't have a car, so I was taking a cab to work. So I was 400 pounds, and I started jogging 7 miles one way to work. And over a year, I lost 200 pounds and went on to bodybuilding and built, an 8-figure business now. And so I think that, yes, very inspirational, very powerful messages. You can make this your next movie, man. So
Totally. That's so cool. So
yeah,
what you're talking about, Rocky, right now is what I want people to say about my movies. Like,
yeah,
it was entertaining.
yeah,
It wasn't cheesy. It wasn't a documentary. Rocky's a actual movie. It's a full length feature film, and it changed your life forever. And
it
so
changed.
that's the end game for me. As exciting as real estate is, it's all a means to an end for me. It's just the best cash producing asset in the world, period. No one will argue that. As far as cash producing assets go. And so again, whether it's flipping houses or any of the other businesses I own, I'm trying to get my hands on as much cash as I can to buy as many apartment buildings as I can.
I love it, man. I love it.
Freaking done, dude.
Yeah. Well, Cole, thank you so much for checking us out. Guys, I want you to go to his website, and definitely you've got to go to Thrive. I'm going to be there. And if you're out there and you're watching this podcast or you're on my YouTube, you've got to go to Thrive. It's it's awesome. And like I said, the speakers you're going to have there is going to be so powerful, so engaging. The people you're going to meet, the stuff that you're going to learn, it's going to blow your mind and change your life forever. We'll have the links to his website. I want to make sure that all the followers and everyone, you guys go out there and check out Cole Hatter. Cole, thank you so much. We're honored and privileged to be able to have this time with you. And we wish you the best with your future and your goals and your dreams. I'm looking forward to seeing you again, man.
Thanks, Sean. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much, Cole. Take care. All right. Bye-bye.